Hello, it is Tuesday. Only Tuesday, I think. Carlina's obviously not here because she's not home. She won't be home today. They're still running tests, and I think if anybody's been in hospital recently, you know how long it takes to get uh, scheduled in for testing. These MRI machines they run almost 24 hours a day, and you know there's appointments at 5 in the morning, 2 in the morning. So when you're brought in as a patient of the hospital, you have to slot in round about all these times that have patients from the outside world coming in as well. They're having a little looky at heart function, just as a matter of course, and also neurological function, because she was slurring her words on Saturday. So they're being really thorough, and I think that's probably the healthiest and best way forward for Carleen and everybody else that's affected by Carleen, because we want to keep her healthy. We want to be confident that what we're seeing isn't the sign of something that's more serious. So it's very reassuring that the hospital are doing so many tests, which is great. And she would like everybody to know she is passing the test, and that is fantastic. She'd also like to make sure that her dogs are warm enough, because that's a big concern for her. So it is what it is, and it will get going in its own time. Janine is on her way home. She should probably either be at the airport or in the air. She should at least have started the first leg of her journey, and that's very exciting. So she's coming home, and then I think, as you probably noticed, she will come home and she will turn around for the beginning of the year with a team made up of some of the animals from here and some of the animals that she has resourced down in South Carolina. And this is important because South Carolina has a different climate to here. I was driving the trailer back up the driveway, our driveway here, because we picked up a really good supply of hay from Meredith, and it wasn't the happiest of experiences, particularly since I realised I didn't have it on four-wheel drive. Apart from that, it isn't pleasant taking animals out in the trailer here, because you have to remember that even though they clear the roads and the roads are safe, we still have snowbanks at the side of the road. So when you're in a trailer and truck, which is just that bit wider than regular cars, and the side of the road is, creeping in, the verge is creeping in onto the road. It's really narrowing the amount of maneuverability that you really have with a truck and trailer. So it's not the most exciting, and we have always maintained that after November 1st we will go on to our winter offering, and the winter offering will be dogs, the rabbits, and anything else that is easy to transport in the SUV, as opposed to having to take the trailer out with us. So that's an important factor for up here. South Carolina, they do not have the same restrictions with snow. So Janine is able to maintain the program facilitating the equine and other animals down in South Carolina in a way that we cannot actually up here. The other interesting thing is that obviously there was a lot of research went into the need for this kind of mission within South Carolina, and it apparently is exceptionally unusual. It's even more exceptionally unusual the fact that we don't charge for this offering, and people are clamouring for Janine to take this show on the road down there. Now, that has meant that she has resourced people who have dogs that are very highly trained. She's resourced people that have other animals. Particularly, we're hoping actually that Angus is going to be going down, and she she is also recruiting people who will volunteer to go and help her with the program, because you can't just turn up just yourself and a menagerie of animals. Well, you can, but it's stressful for all involved. And so this is this is always something that we had hoped was that we would have a Goldie's Farm with the same mission in South Carolina. It's particularly fortunate because we do actually have a barn down there. Now that barn we have used as a halfway house for quarantine, which has been exceptionally useful and has enabled us to take animals from different auctions. Because when the reason we use Pennsylvania is that when you take the animals from the auctions that we go to, they've done the auction circuit for a long period of time. They've been on and off trailers. They've lived in pretty crowded conditions. The animals have to be able to fight for the water, fight for the hay, and it's not the most pleasant of experiences. It's extremely stressful for them. It's a thoroughly unpleasant way to treat these animals. But we take from Pennsylvania because it gives the animals the best chance travelling up from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts to be quarantined for however long the quarantine takes. Getting to the stage when you were taking out of places like Bowie in Texas, that's a very long transport. Now, these animals are technically called dirty because they haven't been quarantined in the same way. They have a health certificate to travel, and they have a Coggins test to travel, a negative Coggins to travel, and then they come into us and then we quarantine them. What was beginning to become apparent was that it was far too long a journey for the animals that were coming out of the likes of Bowie. What South Carolina allows us to do is to break a journey, and they have the potential to either complete quarantine in South Carolina, at which point we're bringing up a clean herd who will then do a further 30 days quarantine into Massachusetts. But it allows us to bring animals from different areas, and it keeps us going. We're technically a far smaller rescue because we've chosen to focus more on sanctuary and the outreach program. So what we're doing is we're facilitating for other 501c3s, as we have always done. We are maintaining, it's exceptionally difficult when people say, I'm at this auction here and there's this mini horse and it's in a mess. And it's the specific buyers are just lining up. You're like, okay. You think, what's another mini horse to add to the herd? And you bring them in, and at some point we'll hopefully find a home. We think Sterling has the potential to work out beautifully in the outreach team. And one of the other problems that we kind of have here is when Janine comes back in springtime, there's a tremendous demand once we go into our springtime program, and it's looking like we could very easily run 2 teams. We just don't have the manpower to run 2 teams, but in the hope that we do manage to bring in volunteers to come on the road with us and be able to offer 2 specific teams. We have Boom and we have Mandy in to see how they will do. We're testing the waters. It's important to be able to move forward. We're moving forward far faster than I think we ever expected, but we're being very cautious with the animals that we bring on board and that we keep with us for the long term. So there's lots of changes on a daily basis sometimes, and it's staying very true to the mission that we honed in on from day one. So I think that's important, and we're so exceptionally fortunate that our Goldie's warriors have come along with us. We're fortunate that Janine's in good health. We're fortunate that Carlene is actually in good health. We're just fine-tuning her at the moment. We're so grateful that we've got Judy We've got Carol who turns up to these outreach jobs, and Sophie comes in and helps out in the summer. We have Jake, we have all these people, and then we have a lovely team of volunteers who will turn up to specific jobs. They'll come and help when needed, and it's a really very fortunate position to be in. So that's where we're at the moment. It's also important to remember that technically Janine's home is split between here. That everybody has life plans, and Janine's life plan was tentatively be able to spend the colder months in South Carolina and the more pleasant months up in Massachusetts. That's what everybody has really been working towards. What she did not expect was for Carleen to maybe need quite so much support at this precise moment in time. But there's a team here, and the team's here to support everybody. And we work together exceptionally well. It's a very capable team, and it's a happy team, and that's actually exceptionally important. So we've got things covered, believe it or not, which I think is probably a first. And I shouldn't really say that, because it'll turn out that something really out of the blue comes and bites us on the bottom, and we're like, I have no idea what to do about that. So that's what these posts are about. It's how we're moving forward. And I think in the way that I look at what Janine does by going down to Aiken in the winter months, and is now going to be continuing the program down there. It's like having a job. Okay, it's an unpaid job, but it's like having a job. And your job, you travel with your job. That's where she's going. She has half of her life down there. She's fortunately able to group together people who will come and volunteer alongside her. And Carleen and I will continue to go out, and hopefully with Carol when she can make it up here. So it's exciting, and it's progress, and it's super. So we're very much appreciative of all the support that we have received. And there is no mail at all. So I'm going to make it up as I go along, but I'm going to answer questions, and I don't have classes again. No, Larky and Sizzle are in their house by themselves from just after 9 o'clock. And because there was no job today. I think there's one tomorrow. And Larky and Sizzle are in the house because that's where they're most familiar. And I did bring home the jumper that Carleen had been wearing, and they've got it on their bed. So they're being fed. Sizzle's not particularly keen on going out and about because the snow is just a bit too much for her. Larky's been in to see Carleen, and they're actually quite comfortable. They've got each other. I'm sure they're missing Carleen, but it's the best that we can really provide for them to keep them in their own home. So that's what they're doing. Yes, they have been doing a lot of checking over dilanthane levels, because it's something that is very much at the forefront of Carleen's mind. So she's had a very good conversation with her doctor, and that's working out really well. Carleen's in Beverly Hospital, and no, she did not fall. I think the grant's still active. It's quite a long process. It has to. There's certain gaps in between. So it's still processing. Oh, I'm glad you're back home, Joe. Yes, Judy took Larky in to see Carleen yesterday morning. So he went with Judy, and it's best just to take one dog at a time. So when Judy comes back, if she goes next time, she would take Sizzle and just alternate them. That's what we did when Carleen was in Hawthorne Hill. we used to take down Sizzle, and then the next day we'd take Larky, and then some days we'd drop off Wanda. So it was a real revolving door of dogs. So yeah, they all keep going. We're all motoring, believe it or not. There's a lot of travelling going on underneath the surface of the water in this place, and it's busy. Now, I removed little Miss Peanut today. She has gone to Meredith, and the reason being is it was becoming a bit noticeable. She and Sterling were in the stall overnight, and Sterling, and it seems to be that Miss Delightful thinks that Sterling is just like her baby, so she grooms him. I don't know if the cameras have picked it up, but she stands and she grooms him, and he follows her around, and then Flower gets involved, and so the three of them were hanging out as a tiny herd of mini mischiefs. The difficulty was that little Peanut was getting left out because Flower and Peanut haven't quite settled down yet. So, given the fact that I was taking the trailer to go and pick up the hay from Meredith, I thought, you know what, a good idea. I'm going to take Peanut down to Meredith, and she has gone into the Ice House herd, and the Ice House herd consists of 2 alpacas, our Harley is there, and we have Hedwig. So there's 2 donkeys and 2 alpacas in that herd, and it's a really lovely barn. There's a lot of space in the barn, and it has a massive paddock. The other mini that we have on there is Wilbur, and today I moved my horse in with Hugo and Penny, and then Boone's companion had been Wilbur. So Wilbur I put into the Ice House. So I have 2 mini horses, 2 mini donkeys, and 2 alpacas in the Ice House. And it looks like it's a pretty settled herd, although Wilbur, who really is not fond of Boone, stood at the paddock fence and shouted to Boone. And Boone's like, I'm busy, Wilbur. I am flirting across the fence with Chester. So it was sad to see. But poor Wilbur was very taken with Peanut, and Peanut was not interested in him at all. But she is absolutely delighted. She is digging up little bits of grass and nibbling away in the grass that's under the snow. So she seems to be very settled. So we're going to try her out over there. And as you know, nothing is set in stone. We can wander them back and forward. Now, at the moment, Sterling is in a stall having his evening dinner. And then once his evening dinner has been finished, he will go out into the arena with the rest of the equine herd. So I think he should put, if anybody sees anything that they have any concerns about, they should send me an email and let me know right about what time it happened. If anybody's watching the camera, that would be much appreciated. But he does seem to be very settled with the light in particular, and with Flower. And the funny thing about Flower, and it's actually not funny at all, but when we rescued Flower, she was really desperately unwell, and the people who had put her into the auction told us that they had just that morning separated her from her foal. So Flower has obviously had a foal at some point. Goodness, we don't know anything about Miss Delightful. She's about 20 and Flower's only about 7. So from that point of view, Flower definitely should have an appreciation of foals, and little Sterling is still very young. So he's over there, so Peanut's over in Meredith, and he's just about to go back into the the main hairs. And we've got we've got a big load of hay coming in. Nick's going to unload that and stack it in the barn, and that will give us a good start for the week coming. And then we're going to look at the weather very carefully, so we make sure that we get our next big load of hay in before the snow and ice fall and settles in, because I really wasn't expecting the snow and the ice to hang around. But apparently it's going to be about 46 tomorrow, 46 the following day, and 56 on Friday with lots of rain. So let's hope that all of this disappears. So that would be good. Okay. Oh, my email is just ejtilston@gmail.com. Carlene doesn't really have a diagnosis. They're just actually, well, she's got her usual issues that she's had for a long period of time. And really just what they're doing is checking that there hasn't been any change in the condition of her heart, her brain. So they're just doing a really thorough checkup, because I think what they think at the moment is that the CPAP hasn't been functioning as it should, which has made her exceptionally tired. And over a period of time, when you're not getting enough sleep, we all know how horrific that is. So they're double checking that there hasn't been any reason for her to have been, quite so tired, and they like to check her for a UTI, etc. So I think they're just being really thorough, which is fantastic. So, and she's in great spirits. She is issuing commands from her phone. So she's doing very well, which is a relief. She hasn't complained about the hospital food, although we did have a giggle, because when we were sitting in the ER, it got to about 7 o'clock, and she said to me, "Did you eat before you came?" I said, "No." I said, "I had breakfast." I said, "Then I went out in that job," and I said, "and then I was kind of chasing my tail to get down here." And she went, "I haven't eaten since 2 o'clock this morning." I said, "Oh," I said, "I don't think that's very good." And so I went to ask at the nurse's station, and I said, "Is there any reason she's not allowed to eat?" And they said, no, she can eat. She said, "Has she not eaten?" Hello, you. How are you?
Oh, it's nice and warm in here.
It is cold.
Yeah.
You're very dusty.
Am I?
Yeah, what did you do?
Oh, I was doing hay, yeah.
Oh, yeah, the hay. It is dusty. And so the only thing they had was whatever had been left over in the refrigerator on the ER ward. And they said, they brought out this sandwich, and they said, "Is a turkey sandwich okay?" And we sort of looked at each other and went, "That'll be just fine, thank you very much."
Where was this?
In the ER. They forgot to bring her a dinner, and the only thing they had was a turkey sandwich. And we said, "We'll just not tell Janine, so don't anybody tell Janine, and we'll be fine."
Oh, why are you not like turkey sandwich?
Because we've got a Sally.
Oh, right, I have turkey sandwich on a different day.
Well, we'll just scrub that, thanks very much. Useless. Anyway, so I have no idea if she's enjoying the rest of the hospital food.
Is she coming out to dinner?
No. It just takes a while to get all the testing they want to do done, because you know how you have to sit and wait for it. So that's what she's up to. But Janine should be back. I know it don't. That will have to be 2 days.
I think it was quite an old one.
Was that an old one? Yeah.
I think brand new or something.
You haven't broken in, have you?
No, I can't find my boots though.
With them on?
Yeah. I don't know where I took them.
Did you put them in the car?
Well, I had them in a car. I don't know what I did with them.
going to finish off the arena. I've got one little stall just to clean out because I'm feeding a little boy in it. And then we're going to track the hay and we're going to make sure that the ducks and the bunny rabbit are cozy.
Okay.
Sounds like a good plan? Yeah, that's what we're doing. And then we're going to go and have dinner. And then have an early night.
Maybe we should have done it first.
Nah, I just want to get it done. Because I've got wet feet. Wet feet. Anyway, so I hope you have a lovely Tuesday evening, and we'll be back tomorrow because it's Wednesday.
These feet need some cushions. Isn't it?
Yeah, well, they're outdoor feet.
I know, it's just like as soon as you sit down, or when you get cold. That's probably what's wrong with
Well, they
them.
also sit right underneath the window.
Yeah, I think like they're definitely cold when you sit on them.
Okay. Oh.
Good night. Gotta put that.
Hey, Janet?
Gotta put up that mural thing.
Oh, you're okay.
It's like barn door.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't think that's a priority for this evening.